In video games, an open world is a virtual world in which the player can approach objectives freely, as opposed to a world with more linear and structured gameplay. Notable games in this category include The Legend of Zelda, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Minecraft. Yeah, apparently that's what the Wikipedia said. I just copied it and pasted it into the video.
What the hell?
Anyway, in today's video, the topic is all going to be about the status of open world games in 2024 and where they stand. Like, are they burning us out with giant maps and 200 collectible feathers? Are we finally done with the Ubisoft formula? We'll figure out if these massive virtual worlds are still fun or just big. I will also discuss on the popular games that had the major influence on the open world games in 2024, the storytelling in open world and other genre, and more to discuss in the video later. Regardless, let's talk about how open world games have changed over the years. Remember the first Grand Theft Auto? It was like playing in a digital toy box, top-down view, pixelated chaos, and you could cause all sorts of trouble. But calling it open world, more like a tiny playpen.
You serious?
Then came The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. That game opened up a whole new world where you could actually explore and find cool stuff. Fast forward a bit, and we got games like Morrowind and GTA San Andreas. These titles were game changers. They introduced epic stories and characters you actually cared about. I mean, who didn't get attached to CJ in San Andreas? It felt like you were part of a wild movie plot where you could drive, steal, and sometimes even save the day. These games made you feel like a total hero, even if that hero was also a notorious criminal. Then, technology started improving. For instance, The Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2. These games surprised majority of open-world players. The worlds were so rich and detailed that you could easily lose track of time. Seriously, I wasted almost an hour just trying to catch a fish in Red Dead. Developers realized that making a huge world is great, but it's the stories and characters that keep us coming back for more. With every new game, we started wondering if we were just getting the same old stuff. Another tower to climb? Another set of random items to collect? Come on, the players are looking for something fresh and exciting. We want to feel like we're part of the story, not just ticking off a checklist. So, what's next for open world games? Who knows? With all the new tech, we might get worlds that actually react to what we do or stories that change based on our choices. Yeah, anyway, let's talk about open world burnout because, honestly, I think we're all starting to feel it a little. I mean, when was the last time you actually finished an open world game? Be honest, it's probably been so long that you've convinced yourself it's still on your to-do list. Spoiler alert. It's not happening, with games getting bigger and bigger, like Starfield boasting its claim of over 1,000 planets. You'd think we'd be living the dream of endless exploration. But instead, we often find ourselves lost in a wasteland, wondering if we're ever going to stop collecting 1,000 useless rocks or finding that one last wretched feather to complete a quest that literally no one asked for. Meanwhile, the actual main story waits patiently for our attention like a neglected houseplant. And let's be real, who doesn't feel a little betrayed when the game promises a vast, living world, only for half of it to feel empty? Players are pushing back against this bigger is better mentality, yearning for more meaningful experiences rather than simply checking off boxes on a never-ending to-do list. We want to engage with worlds that feel alive and responsive, not just a playground filled with empty NPCs and fetch quests that make us question our life choices. As much as we love the freedom of open-world games, there's a growing desire for tighter narratives and more engaging storytelling. Players want worlds that challenge them and characters they can genuinely care about. So, are we over it? Maybe not completely, but if I have to rescue one more villager from a wolf, I might just throw my controller out the window and take up gardening instead. When we dive into open-world games, we often expect to be swept away by grand narratives, rich lore, and characters that linger in our minds long after we've put down the controller. But in recent years, the storytelling in these expansive worlds has been as hit or miss as my attempts at cooking. Some games have delivered breathtaking narratives that resonate deeply, while others feel like they were written during a late-night snack binge, packed with ideas that just don't quite add up. In many cases, the sheer size of these worlds can dilute the storytelling. Instead of a tightly woven narrative that pulls us in, We often end up sifting through a patchwork of quests, lore snippets, and character interactions that can feel disjointed. Remember when you had to pay attention to every conversation because you might miss a vital plot point? Now, it seems like you can skip half of the dialogue and still get the gist. It's almost as if some writers think, if I throw enough side quests at them, they won't notice if the main story is a bit thin. Spoiler alert, we notice. But that doesn't mean all hope is lost. Games like The Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2 have set a high bar, combining intricate plots with fully developed characters. In these worlds, every choice feels significant, and every character you meet has a story worth telling. You find yourself forming real connections, not just picking flowers for some random villager. These narratives hit harder because they understand that in a vast world, the strength of the story often lies in the details, in the moments that make you pause and reflect rather than just rush to the next objective. Moreover, the rise of narrative-driven open-world games is shifting the landscape. Like Ghost of Tsushima demonstrate that it's entirely possible to craft a compelling story while still giving players the freedom to explore at their own pace. It's a balancing act for sure, but when done well, it proves that storytelling can still shine brightly, even in expansive environments. So, does storytelling still hit in open worlds? The answer is a resounding it depends. It can be all sort of experiences, sometimes exhilarating, sometimes a bit chaotic. As players, we're left hoping for more games that recognize the importance of weaving strong narratives into their sprawling landscapes. Because at the end of the day, we want our adventures to feel meaningful, not just like a series of random fetch quests that leave us wondering why we ever thought rescuing another chicken was a good idea. Now, when it comes to open world games, we're left thinking about an important question. Are we witnessing genuine innovation, or are we just getting the same old song and dance with a shiny new coat of paint? It feels like every major release promises to revolutionize the genre, yet somehow, many end up feeling like that favorite old sweater, comfortable but a little threadbare around the edges. Sure, the graphics are jaw-dropping, and the maps are sprawling enough to make you question your sense of direction, but when I find myself climbing yet another tower to reveal the map, I can't help but roll my eyes. Like, congratulations, I've unlocked 5 new locations where I can collect more feathers or rocks. Many of these games lean heavily on familiar mechanics, and it starts to feel like a rinse and repeat cycle. You've got your classic fetch quests, your resource gathering, and of course, the obligatory kill the big bad mission that feels like a rite of passage. It's as if developers are saying, why change a winning formula? But here's the thing, just because something works doesn't mean we shouldn't try something different. Players are craving experiences that challenge them, surprise them, and make them say, whoa, I've never seen that before. That said, not all is lost in the land of open worlds. Some games are boldly stepping outside the box. Like Horizon Zero Dawn and Elden Ring have shown us that innovation is possible, introducing fresh mechanics and stories that truly resonate. They invite players to explore not just vast landscapes, but also the depths of creativity in gameplay. And when innovation hits, it's like discovering a hidden treasure chest in the middle of a dull quest line. Let's not forget the indie developers, who are often the wild cards in this equation. Games like Hollow Knight and the revamped No Man's Sky remind us that you don't need a blockbuster budget to shake things up. These games often feature unique art styles and imaginative storytelling that make you feel like you've stumbled into a world full of possibility. It's a reminder that creativity can exist even outside the confines of big studio conventions. So, is it innovation or more of the same? The answer isn't black and white. Yes, some games stick to the familiar formulas that keep us cozy. Others are out there pushing boundaries and redefining what it means to explore an open world. As players, we're rooting for those brave developers willing to take risks. Because let's face it, if I wanted to replay the same old game, I'd just dig out my dusty console and relive the glory days of Pac-Man. And we can all agree, that's a trip best left in the past. Let's say you're playing your favorite open world game, and what do you see? Another tower to climb, another shiny feather to collect, and another villager begging you to fetch their lost cat. But in all seriousness, players are starting to demand more than just a checklist of tasks. We want innovation, game mechanics that surprise us, stories that resonate, and characters that don't feel like they were pulled from a generic NPC factory. It's like going to a buffet where every dish tastes the same. Sure, it's a lot of food, but where's the spice? Take a page from the indie scene. Some of the most innovative ideas come from smaller developers who aren't afraid to take risks. Like Hollow Knight and Celeste show that you don't need a mega budget to create something fresh and exciting. They take gameplay and storytelling to new heights, literally. You can swing, jump, and dash your way to glory without ever looking back at the tired formulae of yesteryear. We want open worlds that feel alive, responsive, and, most importantly, fun. Let's push those boundaries, shake things up a bit, and maybe, just maybe, we'll create gaming experiences that don't just feel massive but also meaningful. Anyway, for this year of 2024, we've seen some absolutely mind-blowing titles hit the shelves. Games like Elden Ring and Hogwarts Legacy have not only pushed the boundaries of open-world design, but have also kept players hooked like they're binge-watching a new Netflix series. I mean, who knew exploring a magical school could feel so epic? But here's the kicker. While the genre is still buzzing, developers are catching on to what players really want. It's not just about the size of the map anymore. It's about the depth of the experience. Players want to feel like they're part of something bigger, like the choices they make actually matter. And guess what? Developers are stepping up their game. We're seeing more and more indie titles and AAA studios experimenting with storytelling, environmental interactions, and creative gameplay mechanics. It's a beautiful thing when innovation meets the open world format. So, whether you're scaling mountains, hunting down dragons, or just chilling in a digital cafe, there's never been a better time to dive into an open world adventure. So, is the open world genre still going strong in 2024? Absolutely. And as long as players keep demanding innovation and new experiences, this genre isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The open world genre is still going strong in 2024, and there are plenty of exciting adventures ahead. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let me know in the comments. What's your favorite open world game? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.